Yosef, and this is my senior stage. I would like to start out by reading a poem by one of the most insightful and influential characters of all time. Roses are blue, violets are red. I have to go to the bathroom. These words were spoken by the one and only Patrick Star. Now most of you probably know Patrick Star from the famous TV show SpongeBob SquarePants. And if you don't watch SpongeBob, then you're probably one of those people who thinks it's a stupid TV show that kills your brain cells. And if you are one of those people, then you are probably a very, very sad person, and you're just going to have to get through this week. But if you do like SpongeBob, then you're most likely an awesome and totally intelligent person who has learned many life lessons from the show. So today I'm going to present to you the philosophy of Patrick Star. Now this philosophy can be broken down into 5 simple lessons. Lesson number 1, when in doubt, pinky out. This is the idea of faking it till you make it. When I first came to Shady Side, I was really insecure about my intelligence level. I was never a strong math student, and unfortunately that hasn't changed. Honestly, I blame Isaac Newton for the majority of my stress in life, but that's beside the point. Every student intimidated me during my first year, and I always felt a step behind everyone else. I was in Spanish 1 as a repeating sophomore, and I had never even heard of a 5-paragraph essay. However, I knew the only way to truly acclimate myself to the school was to pretend everything was easy. Not because I wanted everyone to think I was perfect, but to give me a little confidence when I was faced with a new challenge. I had to meet with teachers outside of class, ask a lot of questions, no matter how silly I thought they were, and spend more time on my homework than my friends did. I had to adapt to this new environment, and found that pretending I was just as good as everyone else helped me to truly catch up to the level of Shady Side students. I fully embodied the saying, fake it till you make it, or in Patrick's words, when in doubt, pinky out. Lesson number 2. SpongeBob once said to Patrick, "Quick, Patrick, without thinking, if you could have anything in this world, what would it be?" Patrick answered, "More time for thinking." This is the idea of mindfulness, or living in the moment. When Patrick said, "more time for thinking," he was being portrayed as dumb and goofy. But when you think about it, more time for thinking instead of doing is exactly what this world needs. I want everyone to think back to the last time they were having dinner with their family, or even lunch with friends. You were probably thinking about what you had to do after eating, or what assignment was due the next day. In this constantly moving society, it is hard to just be in the moment. Humans of this era generally struggle with being mindful, or in other words, living in the now. It is important to remember that we are only ever in the present. We can never live in the past or the future, so why is it always where our minds reside? I think we should all take Patrick's advice and make more time for thinking. Lesson number 3. I'm ugly and I'm proud. The idea that looks aren't everything and confidence is key. Okay, ready for the senior stage to get really cliche? No? Neither am I. But I am going to touch on the subject of not having to always worry about your looks. At my old school, I remember all the girls constantly going to the bathroom to check their hair or put on more lip gloss. It was ridiculous. We were supposed to be in school to learn, not put on a show. But it can be hard, especially as a teen, to remember that looks are not that important, and discovering your interest is far more interesting than looking at your face 5 times in 1 hour. And hey, I mean, if you're having a bad hair day, don't worry about trying to fix it. Just make up for it with your awesome personality and exuberance. One time, while reading 17 magazine, and don't judge me because I know all the girls went through that stage, but anyways, I read that confidence is the most attractive quality. Want to know what I thought about that? Bull poop. You're trying to tell me that confidence will make up for my head of frizzy hair and 20-pound overweight 6th grade bod? Come on, 17. That's almost as bad as the time you told me I would achieve perfectly shiny hair if I poured mayonnaise and eggs on my head. However, through the years, I realized that 17 magazine was onto something. Confidence is kind of like this magic trick that can actually make people believe you are prettier and better than you actually are. It's great. So, the next time you have a giant pimple on your forehead, just walk around like you own the place, and no one will even notice that you look like the before picture on a Proactive commercial. Be ugly and proud. Patrick knows what he's talking about. Lesson number 4. You can learn from anyone. Before watching SpongeBob, I never knew about the study of Wumbo. You know, I Wumbo, you Wumbo, Wumbo. But there are many things that I do not know. And although the study of Wumbology does not actually exist, the idea that anyone, even Patrick Star, can teach us something does. Curiosity and open-mindedness are two learn. You can learn from the random people you meet on airplanes, the comics you read in a newspaper, or even the homeless man on the street. Life is your teacher. I was lucky enough to learn this last year when I went on my park in to Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. That's where I met the Native American elder Hobart. Hobart was one of the gentlest souls I have ever come in contact with, even though his life has been extremely difficult. He is dreadfully poor and has a difficult family situation, to say the least. However, despite his shortcomings, he lives life with a smile on his face. He is constantly working with the Tribe Council, which is basically the government on the reservation, to better the community for those around him. Hobart never let his past shape his future, but instead he takes the hardships and uses them as lessons and looks at his life with a remarkably sweet disposition. Now, I only knew Hobart for a short 10 days, and obviously I did not spend every waking moment with him. However, his gentle nature and patience has stuck with me. And just like Hobart, Patrick Star is a character that resonates with me. Obviously, I'm not going to learn scientific facts or discover a new mathematical formula for watching SpongeBob. But I have learned many lessons. The biggest lesson being that you can learn from anything and everything. It just depends on how you perceive it and your willingness to learn from life. With that being said, the most important lesson I've ever learned from Patrick Star is that mayonnaise is indeed not an instrument. And oddly enough, neither is horseradish, which is why I chose a slightly more respected instrument, and that's the piano. So today I'm going to be playing one of my favorite pieces called Concertstück by Von Weber. And this piece is actually a concerto, meaning it is meant to be played with 2 pianos and 2 people, but I'm just going to play my part for you today. So without further ado, here's Concertstück.